So if you want to get more clients through social media, you're in the right place. We got my main man, JK Molina, here in the house to teach us how we can actually do this. JK, what up?
What's up, Mark? Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Excited to hear some of your tips and tricks. Loved having you on the After Hours Entrepreneur a couple months ago. And I'm just going to turn it over to you so you can help us get more clients. I'm spending all this time on social media. How do I actually turn this into clients? Let's go, baby.
That's right. Well, what's up, everyone? Thank you for having me. I'm JK Molina. A little bit about me and what people find relevant when I start talking online is I built and sold Tweet Hunter, which was a $1.4 million a year business with just a free Twitter account in around a year. I have closing in on 200,000 followers on Twitter and have tweeted around 50,000 times. This is kind of what I've done. And one thing I really got obsessed with is how to get clients with Twitter specifically. I've found that some people have used it on Instagram and LinkedIn. I will try to make it as relevant to other social media as I can. But my thing is Twitter. And I kind of wanted to learn this because of kind of an embarrassing moment I experienced early on in my Twitter journey. So early on, I was kind of the Twitter guy, the Twitter growth guy. That's kind of how people knew me, right? And a lot of people were booking a few calls, right? As in like, hey, how do I grow my Twitter? How do I, play this Twitter game right? And I remember I got on a call and I had 70,000 followers, 70K. And then it was with a call with this guy with 900 followers and he wanted help with Twitter. And I was at 70K, he was at 900, and we were making the same amount of monthly income. And to me, I was just so embarrassed. I remember that because I was in a call and he revealed the number and I was like, dude, that's how much I make. And I have 70 times your reach, right? So I gave him some advice on Twitter growth, but in the end, I just felt like garbage, just like complete garbage. And that's kind of how I started find my voice, right? Like Russell Brunson says, your mess becomes your message. So my mess was having a big account, making no money. And I wanted to learn how to actually monetize accounts. And that's when I kind of nailed into my positioning right now, which is Legacy Cash. You can build a huge audience. You can build get a lot of eyeballs. But if you're not monetizing them and if they're not, making you money, then what really is the point, right? So I became obsessed with finding ways in which you can monetize audiences. Big audiences, small audiences. I've seen this thing work for people with 60 followers, with 40 followers, closing $2,000 deals, $1,500 deals. And now I kind of want to show you how to do this, right? Because if you can use the techniques small accounts use to monetize and you have a big account, that's when you really start to see things popping. So that's what we're going to cover today. And I'm going to share a quick Google Doc that I have for you guys, and we'll take it from there. Feel free to ask any questions or anything that pops along the way. All right. Should I go, Mark?
Yeah, let's rock and roll. Before we get started here, though, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor today. Quick shout out to our sponsors over at Fran Bridge Consulting. They specialize in placing you with the best non-food franchises on earth. And the best part, it's 100% free. Do yourself a favor and sign up for a free call with the CEO, John Austinson, today over at franbridgeconsulting.com. He'll even send you a free book, 100% free. Go to franbridgeconsulting.com, chat with the CEO, John, today. All right, let's get into the episode.
I got my quick little Google document here, the guru document. So let's keep going. Now, we're already covered kind of my story, my most embarrassing social media moment. And by the way, for people wondering, this guy was making $30,000 a month with 900 followers, which to me is crazy. I was just killing it, right? And I needed to learn how he was doing it. What was he doing differently? And then one other guy called Marcos on Twitter, he spent good money on a very fancy website. I could see his website. It was just beautiful. And he was making $30,000 a month with 11,000 followers. And he tweeted something that to me kind of validated a lot of the things I've been learning, which is he tweeted, I spent thousands of dollars in a fancy website and not a single lead has come through that website. It's all DMs. And when I look at what the other guy did, which by the way was Tony, the 30K a month with 900 followers guy, that guy also focused too much on DMs, didn't even have a website. That's how he made the money. So I'm thinking likes ain't cash, but maybe DMs are cash, right? So what I'm going to show you is how to turn your social media following and however many followers you have into cash. And to me, there's 3 secrets to this. There's inbound DMs, people who message you. There's outbound DMs, you talking to people. And then there's credibility, how to make people recognize you as that guy, as this is the guy I need to talk to. So we're going. Secret number 1 for me, it's how to get inbound. And to me, this is kind of how it starts. And to really nail this point, it's let's say 2 girls slide into your DMs. A hot girl slides into your DMs and an ugly girl slide into your DMs. Now, I don't want to be biased, but I will be. And I will say that I would rather respond to the hot girl that slides in my DMs, just being honest, right? So why? Why am I doing this? Because I have more to gain from that interaction, right? There is more value in that interaction. Now, for us as business owners, there's got to be a little bit more to it than beauty, right? Now, to me, beauty in the business world is competence, is you showing that you're good at what you do. Because let's say some random dude with 0 followers called Skateboy6987 DMs you, and then the top guy in your industry with a verified check DMs you, there's a very different likelihood that these guys have of you responding. And that likelihood stems from competence. The more competent somebody is, the more likely you are to respond. Okay. So when people tell me, hey man, I've been sending DMs, I've been DMing people, but I'm not getting any responses. What's wrong with my DM? To me, that is a symptom that it's not just the DM that's wrong. There's something else that is wrong. Because, and this is what you guys do, everybody listening to this, everybody does this. This is what happens when you receive a DM. First thing that happens, people read the DM, obviously. 2 is they don't respond right away. First, they click on your profile. Then they read your bio. Then they click your link in bio and read through it. Then they read your pinned tweet or posts. Then they read some of your posts. And then they classify you because our brain likes to operate in zeros and ones, black and white, yes and no's. They will classify you in legit or not legit. Right? This is how it goes. So when you send a DM and people tell me, bro, my DM is not working. It's not just the DM that's working. It's that there are 6 filters you're not passing for the DM to work. It's the profile, it's the bio, it's the link in bio, it's the pinned post, it's the posts, right? There's many things that you're not passing through. You're not, like to put it in the simplest terms, you're not that hot. So we gotta make you hot. So how do we make you hot? How do we make you look competent in front of the people you are DMing? So the likelihood that they will respond to your DM goes up.
I have a question on that, JK.
For sure.
You mentioned verification, and now Instagram, Twitter, you can buy that verification. Do you think that the verification still holds the same water, the same credibility that it used to hold?
No, but it doesn't hurt. Because they know that at least you have a credit card. and I'm being real, bro. Like for real. Like me, I live in a third world country, born and raised in Guatemala, right, all my life. And I'm very grateful that I'm in this position to be able to talk business. But for the most part, you don't want to deal with a lot of people from third world countries. And I disputed a $2 Fiverr fee at some point in my life, a $2 Fiverr fee. You don't want those as clients. And that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people like that. So at least it shows that you're willing to spend $8 online on Twitter.
That's fair. And, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Psychologically, we've been trained or seasoned over the past decade to think that verification matters so much. They are legit. And I think it's going to take time to wean people off of that kind of psychological impact that blue check mark still has. So I just wanted your input on that, because I think that's an interesting and kind of a hot topic.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's cloud. It shows cloud, but it doesn't necessarily show competence. Case studies, testimonials, controversial takes, that shows competence. But we'll get into that. But it doesn't hurt. I'll say that it doesn't hurt.
Oftentimes, and Alex Hormozy was talking about this the other day, oftentimes it's not the message, it's the messenger. If Warren Buffett is giving you financial advice, it could be the same financial advice as Joe Schmo, but it's to your point, that credibility, I think, matters a lot.
That's right. It's you're hotter in a way, if you wanted to look at it that way. You're hotter, so you're more likely to get a response. It's a ruthless world out there, man. I'm telling you. All right. Facts, bro. So how do we make people look like believe that we are more competent? How do we show that? To me, there's kind of 4 ways, and it all revolves around proof. So to me, in your bio right now, if you wanted to increase your cold DM response rates, I would do these 4 things right now. In your bio, I would claim my competence, because the bio is not that big. You have limited space. In my link in bio, I would demonstrate my competence. Testimonials, case studies, screenshots, A to Bs, transformations. These are all good. Student interviews, really good. In your pinned posts, I would prove my competence. So if you go to my profile, I have free Twitter monetization course. That's my pin tweet. And I will include my threads below, so people can see that at least I'm not a bum, right? So in your pin post, how can you prove that you at least know your shit? And then your posts, because people do have very, very short memories, you remind people of your competence often, right? And maybe, Mark, this would be useful. I have a document with 50 ways in which you can remind people of your competence. It's free. It's just a document. I can share it for you to put it in the show notes and whatnot. I think this might be useful for the people listening.
Brilliant. We'll put a link below. Make sure you click that. So the competence piece, obviously very important.
Yeah. Like you receive a message, man. And it's one guy just tells you, hey, I can take you to $10,000 a month. And the other guy tells you, I can take you to $10,000 a month, but he has 17 different testimonials of people achieving that same thing. It's the same piece of copy, but one demonstrates competence. And this is why that person gets the business and the other one doesn't. And the reason why we're doing this, guys, it's because when you send a DM, you could write the best DM in the world, but if you're not competent, if you're not hot, people will not respond. So we need to prove it some way. And to me, if you prove it with these 4 filters, bio claiming competence, link in bio demonstrating competence, pin post proving competence, and posts reminding people of competence, your chances go up way higher than before. So this is kind of the secret to making people look at you like you are that guy. And this is kind of how I think at it. I'm willing to continue on the next point, but if there's anything you want to ask or add, feel free to do so.
Yeah, certainly. Any questions for the After Hours Entrepreneur Mastermind, feel free to ask them here. I will say this kind of reminds me of conversation we had with Jordan Harbinger last week when he was in here, and that you can pour as much money into advertising as you like, but if you don't have a clear bio, if people can't don't look at you as credible, none of the dollars actually matter. It's like pouring water into a bucket that has a bunch of holes in it, right? So
yeah, that's right. And yeah, I mean, you gotta show you're legit, guys. Like that is the key. This builds trust. Trust is a lubricant for sales. Nobody's talking about this.
Yo, are you interested in business ownership? For many entrepreneurs, the journey starts with non-food franchising. Franchising is simply the better option for many entrepreneurs, and demand is at an all-time high. Lucky for you, John Austinson, founder of Franbridge Consulting, is here to help you today. John and his Franbridge Consulting team are part of the largest brokerage in the US and are constantly vetting the market thoroughly. Franbridge is hands down the premier source for the best opportunities in the non-food franchising world. They will find the best business for you, your personality, and your location, from healthcare to dumpsters, from youth soccer to oil changes, even insulation and windows. And the best part, it's 100% fee-free, no additional costs to you. You may have heard John on Entrepreneurs on Fire. He has served as an Inc. 500 franchisor, a multi-brand franchisee, and in fact, he's one of the top 1% consultants nationwide. Listen, sign up for a free consultation with the CEO, John, today, not his assistant, not his sales team. Sign up for free with John today at franbridgeconsulting.com. That's franbridgeconsulting.com. And guess what? He's even going to send you a copy of his book for free, Non-Food Franchising. For free book. You got to love it. So go to franbridgeconsulting.com right now. All right, let's get into the episode.
Secret number 2. Now, you got your inbound right. This is how you make people be like, okay, he is that guy. And this will drive your inbound up if you do it for a long enough period of time. upfront. Now let's talk about how to do outbound, because this question pops up a lot. Who do I DM? Where do I find them? What do I say? How do I turn somebody who could be a prospect into a call, into a sale? And to me, there's a few frameworks I think about when I do outbound. One is the party method. Now, your ideal avatar is online. That is, they are there. At least if you're listening to it, they are there. And that person follows some other person, right? So for example, if you're into, I don't know, if you're into sales, you'll follow Mark, right? If you're into Twitter monetization, you'll follow me, right? And the cool thing about this is, imagine you're in a party and you found one guy that is your prospect, right? That person, if you look at social media like a party, will talk to people related to that person in interest. For example, I talk to Mark right now. We're both interested in monetization, in online sales, and this network situation will lead to what is happening today, which is a mastermind call, right? So Mark is talking to people that he is close to or that are similar to him. I'm talking to people I'm similar to. So that kind of click, you'll find that in party, you'll find several clicks. So what you do is you find where one of your target avatar is, and then you realize, who is he commenting under? Whose post is he liking? Who is he retweeting? Who does he follow? Who does he engage with online? Those group chats where everybody sends memes to each other, who is in that group chat? And what you'll find is you'll realize that if you find one click, you can find a lot of people who could be prospects because they all kind of are connected to each other. Russell Brunson calls this the Dream 100. So what I would recommend you do is, if you want to find qualified leads, you would create a list of 100 people that your dream target avatar follows. And then you have this list. And over the days, and you can hire a VA to do this, you would go over the likes, the comments, the retweets, the posts, the story shares, whatnot. And you can see, who are these guys relating to? And because people talk to people who are similar to them, you will eventually find a lead of like these pool of qualified leads that are all hanging out on social media. It's those small cliques in which there is a lot of money, and your client, your future client, is there. You just have to look in the right clicks inside the party. Does that make sense, Mark?
It does. And it's kind of funny you talk about that, just to kind of rehash, who are the 100 people that your dream avatar follows, right? So if I'm in marketing, it might be Russell Brunson or Billie Jean or something like that. What's interesting about this is you can really, this reverse engineering process can actually be automated on a lot of systems too. In a couple of weeks, we're bringing in Zach Baker, who runs an Instagram growth agency, and that's what he does. He says, who are the people that your dream avatar follows? And then he has some automated ways of engaging with them to drive traffic back to your Instagram profile, which I'm actually using. And spoiler alert, it works. It's helping to grow my Instagram very, very rapidly. I'm getting a lot of conversation. So yeah, I like this idea a lot about looking at the people that your dream avatar follows. Also, it makes sense in marketing, because then you can set up cookies, you can set up ads, you can set up copycat audiences, I think is the term. I might be missing that, but the party method, I like it. Yeah. Is anyone else doing this in your business, by the way? Are you reverse engineering who your audience is following?
Are you asking me?
I'm just kind of feeling out the group here. I think people are listening more, but I'm interested to hear.
I haven't done it much, but one thing I've been doing with my podcast guests is getting testimonials on the spot from them. And then I can leverage people who follow and comment on their posts. I can DM them, follow them, comment on theirs. And I already know that I have a testimonial of the person that they're following. So I use that to bridge the gap. I don't do it much, but that's the strategy.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, because that's actually the next point, the proof method. So the way I look at it, kind of why you follow people. So people will follow others and they'll follow many fitness coaches. So why, like, if there's one way to lose weight, which is just, eat less and train more, like, why are people following this many fitness coaches in the same niche? And to me, the way I look at this, it's in every follow, there is an implicit ask for help. Right. This is why people follow many people in the same niche, because if they follow one person, then if they follow somebody else who is in a similar niche, that means that one person didn't give them enough information for them to scratch that itch or to solve that problem. So this is why I like to craft the Dream 100, because what we want to do is we want to comment on these people, see who they're engaging. And then because every follow is an implicit ask for help, they will look at our stuff. And that when we have that eyeball, we need to convert that. So how do we convert people? And the way I like to do that is with proof. So to me, every day I will post some sort of testimonial. It'll be a testimonial, a case study, an A to B, a transformation. It'll be a student interview, something, right, that proves that I know my stuff. Because when that implicit ask for help comes, I want to be ready. When that implicit ask for help comes, I want to have proof in my profile that, yes, I can help you and I can heal you and I can solve all your problems. That is what I do. And I will post, and this is kind of my main thing, one proof of competence every single day. And that is like half the step. The other half of the step is I will DM people who engage with that proof of competence, because that means that they have a higher intent. So the way this kind of works is I'll post something that says, took this person from this level to that level, right? Here's what we did. I'm really pumped to see Jake's progress, whatever. And then I'll leave it for a few hours. In a few hours, I'll come back and see who engaged with it. And then I will DM those people and say, yo, I saw you like I saw you like the post about Jake. I saw you're in a similar niche. Maybe we should talk, right? And because they already liked it, they kind of have this small commitment that they will respond to you because it's relevant, because they liked it, and because it just is a very good, like, in subtle way for me to right hook people in. You know, you post proof and then you DM the people who engage with that proof. Anybody doing this right now, or anybody have tested something similar?
I do, but certainly not at scale.
Yeah.
Brian, you got some?
Well, I was going to say, I've kind of thought about doing exactly what you talked about, JK, but maybe it's just a belief that's getting in the way. I don't know how comfortable I feel like posting, because I've got a lot of testimonials, right, that prove competence. But the idea of like throwing it onto a post and saying, hey, we've done this great work. If you're interested, join my program. I guess, like I said, I think I've got a limiting belief that's getting in my way. So
what do you think the belief is? Like, is it like too invasive or embarrassing or something like that?
I guess I wouldn't say embarrassing. I'm trying to like have empathy with, the people that I'm following, and they see a post like, hey, here's what we've done. Here's the transformation they've gone through. And it's like the people that I'm following are like, I don't care. Like, just give me more tips, give me more advice, help me get to where I want to go. Like, I don't really care to see the transformations you're helping other people with. But again, that's just confidently, after having just listened to you, confidently, it's like, that is probably something that is getting in my way that I need to get past.
I mean, if your thing works, and I'm sure it does, like, I don't see why people wouldn't like to hear that. And if you're uncomfortable with just saying, hey, this is the result, tell people what you did. Because it's one thing to tell you, hey, I took this guy to this level. It's another thing to use the same gift, but change the wrapping around it and say, hey, we took a guy to this level. These are the steps we took. If you're in this, don't give up. You're in the right track. And then suddenly it goes from a right hook to something that's super like valuable. It's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm in the right track. They want that, So I feel like it is, and you labeled it correctly, it is a false belief. People would absolutely want to see your method work. You just have to do it in an elegant way.
I think that you added in the missing piece, where in my mind, a post like that would just be like, hey, testimonial, here's proof, you guys, I know what I'm doing, join my program. But to add in that piece where it's like, here's proof and here's specifically what we did, together to get this result, kind of help them believe like, this is why it'll work for you, because the process is available for you as well. So I'm going to try it. I really appreciate this nugget that you just dropped, man. I think this will be helpful.
And the cool thing is, maybe you don't even need to ask if you're not comfortable with it, because you got to take it by steps. Maybe you don't even need to ask, because then the more you ask in a post, the less people are going to like it, right? That's just normal. But if you don't ask, more people like it, and then you have a bigger pool of leads to talk to. It's not, I don't know who said this. Was it Ali? I don't know. It's not bragging if it's true, right? It's not bragging if it's true. So you can just show the proof like that.
Right. So you're saying like try to leave out the call to action. It might actually be more, it'll resonate more. People will be more receptive.
Yeah, because then people are waiting for you to ask. And it's like, if you don't, you're like, that's interesting. And then they like the post, and then you can go and DM them, DMs are cash.
Aha. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate the dialogue.
You got it.
That's a great question. I just want to highlight something that Dan is sharing here in the chat, because the biggest challenge I have, JK, with this type of process of posting, engaging with everyone that likes it, I don't want to use the word lazy, but that takes a lot of time and effort. And I'm all about hacking my time. And Dan just shared, I think, what's a really interesting software called Taplio, Taplio, Taplio.com. I haven't used it. This is not an endorsement, but apparently this is a LinkedIn growth tool. It uses AI, which is pretty interesting. Buzzword, hot word. And what it says, what Dan types here is you can auto DM people who comment or like. Just don't be spammy about it. I'll auto send something like "Have an awesome day." Then keep the conversation going with those who respond. That's what I'm talking about, baby. You know how much do we spend on lead generation, on hiring people to make cold calls and stuff, when you can just create great content on social, get engagement, and have an automated process to DM people? That's a really great share, Daniel. Thank you.
That's a great share. You want to know something funny? It's we built and sold Tweet Hunter, and Taplio is kind of Tweet Hunter's twin. So yeah, like I've seen Taplio because it's the same software we sold, but for LinkedIn. That's
interesting.
Cool. Yeah, so it's cool to see that it reached a point in which I'm not associated with it. To me, it's cool. So I'm really happy that popped up. Thank you, Dane. Okay, so the biggest mistake I feel like people making in DMs. So you have the proof, you have the pool of leads you can talk to. And by the way, you can talk to people who engage with it and people who don't engage with your post. Like you could message anybody. But the biggest mistake I see when people do outbound is they are selling by chat and not setting by chat. To me, this is the biggest mistake. In a DM conversation, what has worked for us is don't prolong it more than 15 messages back and forth. That should be it. It shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes. Just boom, 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 fast. The biggest mistake I see people make is they try to solve objections and they make it super long and they send paragraphs and poems and podcasts instead of just being like, yo, let's hop on a call and doing it quick. So the script I'm going to show you guys is going to show you how to set by chat, not sell by chat. It will allow you to make this conversation faster. And this is something I gave to my VAs in case, and you're probably going to ask this, Mark, on how to hack your time. You can give this script to a VA. And we've tried this and it's working. So maybe if you guys have a VA or a setter, you can give this to them and they can start booking calls for you. But this is kind of the script I use if you wanted to do it. Do I like to do an intro? And this is why people bash DMs too much, is because the intro is done wrong. People will either send a horrible DM or they will send an dishonest DM. Like, for example, if I'm messaging you, Mark, it's like, yo, Mark, I just listened to a few of your podcast episodes and they changed my life. I love you. By the way, are you looking for a short form content editor? It's just so dishonest. Just oh my God, dude, come on. If you're going to ask, just ask. Right? Come on. So what I like to do is I like to kind of give out my winning card from the beginning. I just tell them I'm selling. I just go for the punch. But there's a way to do this. You want to include high relatability in a way that, hey, I feel like Mark should feel like I'm talking to him. You want to have high interest and be like, yo, I'm interested in a business partnership or your money, but I don't need it. But you also want to open up with high status. If you want it, let me know. If you don't want it, cool. That's cool too. And I feel like if you combine these three in your first outbound message, one is the conversations from the people that actually respond will be more meaningful. And two, it will allow you to not feel spammy, because sometimes DMs feel spammy. They feel just low status. But if you do it this way, I like it. So let me let me give you an example. I'll do one with like my program, right? That helps you get clients. A good intro message would look like, actually, let me show you what a bad intro message would look like. A bad intro message would be, yo, how's business going? Or it'd be like, hey, I can get you more money. Would that be valuable to you? Like, it's just so corny. But a good intro message should be like, hey, man, let's say I'm trying to sell to an e-commerce agency, right? Hey, bro. Oh, hey, name. I noticed you're in e-commerce. We recently helped somebody in your niche with around your same following get to 30K a month. It got me thinking we should explore possibilities together. Let me know. And I'll include a screenshot. That is high status. That's high relatability, and that is high interest. So the message kind of goes, hey, I saw you do e-commerce and I'll include a screenshot, right? So that's like high status. It's like, hey, I've done this already. Then it's, I saw you're in e-commerce. I have this client in e-commerce too, and we got him this result. That is high relatability because it demonstrates that it's not automated. It makes it look like it's real. And then it's also high status, as in like, it got me thinking we should explore possibilities together. Let me know. That's kind of how I start my conversations. That I think it's just a good way and what has worked for us. Does anybody have a question or any input on this? I'm going to show you a conversation on this at the end, but I kind of want to go through the script first.
I like the directness because as someone who gets a lot of messages, the majority of the messages I get are kind of like you said, like, you're like, hi. I'm like, hi back, and then it's something like you said.
What is your goal for short form content, Mark?
Yeah.
Like, okay, dude, like,
yeah. If I could bring you more leads, would that be valuable? Right. It's kind of played out. Yeah. No, I like the idea of being very direct, but also using that proof concept. So just to kind of recap that, hi, I saw you're in e-commerce. We recently helped a similar sized store reach $100,000 in sales. Maybe we can work together. Maybe we can help you. Let's hop on a call or something like that. Yeah,
let me know.
Because the worst thing, and this is actually, I'm going to be transparent and vulnerable for a second. One of the problems I have with social media selling is I just don't go for the sale. And I end up getting to these really long conversations that just lead nowhere. It's all night texting and DMing, and then that's it, right? So I like the idea of being more direct so that the conversations are actually going somewhere. I think it's better for everyone when that happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, people are busy, dude. Like, and you don't want to stalk. Like, the worst thing, even worse than just not getting any sales, is not getting any sales after talking to a prospect for like 3 hours. It's like, God, no, just save yourself some time. And I'm going to show you a conversation to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I like that. And quite frankly, I just want to, because I think one of the reasons I don't go for the sale is because I don't want to be salesy, or because I don't like that. But at the same time, like, does this person that I'm DMing, do they really feel like having a 3-hour conversation with a stranger on the internet that doesn't go anywhere? Probably not, so it's probably better to be more direct up front without being like without being pushy or salesy, like you said. I like this method a lot. This is really good.
Yeah, I'm going to show you a combo. Actually, let's go over the conversation, and then I can like kind of distill each part of it for you guys, which I prepared right here. So this is what I do. So I will say, hey, name, you popped in my feed, and I'll send them a testimonial of somebody in a similar niche. We recently helped this person get to this goal in around 5 weeks. We started working when he had a similar audience to yours. It got me thinking we should explore possibilities together. Let me know. See, this is high relatability, same following, high interest, I'm DMing them, and high status. If you want it, let me know. If not, that's cool too. Right? It's kind of you're approaching somebody at the bar, right? You don't want to open up like a dick, right? But you don't want to open up needy either. To me, this combination of 3 things allows me to not be needy, but I'll also be like, hey, there is something you may want here. All right. Now, that's the message I send. Feel free to give it to your VA. Now, problem. They'll respond with something like, yeah, Mark, makes sense. What do you have in mind? Sure. Or they'll tell you to fuck off, which, by the way, is also a good result. If you get a quick no, that means you have more time to get a yes. So let's keep going. Hey, interested to know more? Yeah, let's take it from the top. And this is where you ask a problem. And I like to leave this question open-ended. You could ask questions that start with verbs. Is it, has it, have you, or yes or no's. However, I like to use questions that start with adverbs. What, when, why, who, because that allows you to get more information from the question. For example, if I asked you, did you hit your revenue goals last month? That's a yes or no question. However, if I asked you, how much did you make last month? You have to tell me. And that gives me more information to work from. So more questions that start with adverbs, less questions that start with verbs, or yes or no. Now, you ask the problem and they'll give you something. And here's what's really important about this script. You're not selling by chat, you're setting by chat. So whatever they respond to does not really matter that much. I'll give you an example. Yeah, man, I'm working on client acquisition. So I need to diversify. That's what it said. Right now, here's what I said. Yeah, that's a common one. That's a common problem. That's a common issue. I've seen that before. That tends to happen. You can use any of those. I have a few ideas for you if you're open to it. Let's set up a call with my team next week and take it from there. I have some ideas. Let's set up a call. And you just leave it like that. Now, the important thing here is the problem that they have is rarely the problem that they see. So let me give you an example. People might say, hey, man, I'm just big boned. Hey, man, I just have a slow metabolism. It's like, no, bro, the problem is you're eating too many donuts, right? But the thing is, we cannot fix this by chat because time is not your friend here. You don't want to sell by chat. You want to set by chat. So whatever problem they tell you they have, you quickly realign it to, okay, sure, I can fix it, whatever it is. So they go with, yeah, man, it's client acquisition. Yeah, that's a common one. I've seen this before. Yeah, man, my wife left me. Yeah, bro. Happens all the time. I have a few ideas for you. So, yeah, man, I'm struggling with lead flow. Yeah, that's super common. Let's fix it. Whatever the problem is, you just tease the solution. It's like, yeah, man, I found that problem to be super common. And then you say, let's set up a call. The easiest way to get somebody to do something is to make them want to do it. So after they tell you the problem, you have a lot of leverage because they see you as the expert. They see you as the guy that knows their stuff because you did your profile right. So what you do now is you go for the call. You're like, sure, man, let's set up a call to fix problem. Whatever that is, you just input it like a variable. You input that. And then they'll tell you something like, yeah, man, sounds good. Yeah, let's talk. You send a link. No more than 15 messages back and forth. Just go like that. Intro, problem, whatever problem they have, you can fix it. And if there are more details involved, don't talk about those details because you're not selling your setting. If you talk about those details, you'll be caught in a 3-hour-long conversation. Don't open that door. No more than 15 messages. And after they say the problem, go for the call. We covered a lot of things there, but are there any questions, any input on this?
I'm kind of absorbing this, but I guess one of the questions I have is probably sometimes when you're inviting someone to hop on a call, they'll say like, now's not a good time or come back later. Do you have a follow-up process in place so that you say, hey, okay, 24 hours, you just send them a link? How do you navigate between that? Okay, I know what your problem is. I've seen it before. I think we can work together. Here's a link, or how do you find that to convert better?
So what you do is you tell them, let's set up a call, and you leave it close. You just leave it. Let's set up a call, and then they'll respond with something. Yeah, sounds good. If they say, yeah, sounds good, you send the link, and then you say, do you mind booking today so I can prepare some stuff for a call? You give them a reason so they don't ghost. Now, if they go with something like, actually, I need a little bit more information to it, it is my experience that every time I've had a prospect that does not want to stick to my sales process, they will churn. So to me, I give them a 1 or 2 sentence thing of what we do and send them a video, like a 2-3 minute video, right? Is this more relevant? And if they say yes, then I go for the call. And if they keep asking for details, usually I know I'm talking to a tire kicker, so I don't want to continue the conversation. I just leave it. this is what's worked for me. But I do agree that I have shorter patience than most people. So I don't want to have conversations all day. So that's what I do.
But honestly, I think that's a valuable point, right? You have a much easier time, and this is counterintuitive, but I have found it to be true. You have a much easier time selling to people that have money than people that don't. And it sounds obvious, but it's also counterintuitive because you think, well, if I charge too much, nobody's going to say yes. The flip side is the people that can afford that service, they're not going to ask all these BS questions. And actually, Robert and I were talking about that this morning, if you're paving or if you're doing specialty backyards at $10,000, then you deal with the person that's like, this rock looks different than the rock in the picture. Or I don't like this, I don't like that. Whereas opposed to if you're selling at 100K, you're not going to get all that kickback. No, I agree. The back and forth stuff drives me nuts.
Yeah, which is why I'm like super just very ruthless when it comes to DM conversations. Like my VAs will tell me, what do I say here? I just tell them next.
There's a billion people.
Go to the next one. Yeah, like they're if a prospect is not willing to stick to your sales process, they probably don't respect you. Do you want to work with somebody who doesn't respect you? Probably not. All right. I want to cover one thing before we leave, because I do have a call like at the hour. But I feel like this is going to be one of the most powerful things you can add to your content after. And I'm going to give you everything on the Notion. Mark will include it in the show notes. But to me, it's credibility. A lot of the times is we send a DM and people just don't believe our claims. We send an offer and nobody books a call in the calendar because they don't believe that we can accomplish the thing. We don't have credibility in their minds. So I want to give you one quick tip to double the credibility of your profile and double your brand strength. So let me pull that up for you. And I think this is kind of an equation that it's been very dear to me. What we want to do is we want to create pressure. That's kind of how I want you to look at it. So pressure, what is the formula for pressure? Pressure is force over area, meaning that a lot of people, when they want to increase their brand strength, they focus on the top part. They want to introduce more force, more call to actions, more content, more things, but they don't want to reduce the area. Whereas if you wanted to increase the pressure, you can also reduce it. So how does this look like in a social media scenario? To me, this is your brand strength right here. Your topic expertise, how good you are at something, divided by the number of topics you talk about equals credibility. Same thing with this. Pressure equals force over area. The pressure you introduce in your audience, the credibility you have in their eyes equals topic expertise divided by the number of topics you talk about. So let's look at it this way. So I'm gonna zoom out. Okay, so let's say out of 100, you're a 70 expertise at something, right? You're like good. Now let's say, and this happens all the time, you talk about 10 different topics. And this happens all the time. Like you say you're good at sales, but you also talk about family values, and you also talk about masculinity and fitness and lead gen, and you introduce many number of topics. Now, having people believe you're good at one thing, easy. Having people believe you're good at 10 things, hard. Because you can only be so good at something. So let's say you wanted to double your credibility inside your audience. You have two things you could do. You could get twice as good. It takes years, but you could do it. You could get twice as good in sales, twice as good in lead gen, or whatever you do, and you would double it, right? You go from 7 to 14. Or you could split the topics you talk about in half. This takes years. This takes a second. It's a decision, something you do once. And for example, you could talk about, yeah, guys, I'm really good at sales, right? Let's use that example. Actually, no, I'm actually really good at selling banking solutions. But like for real, I'm only really good at selling banking solutions to people in this division. And like, if we're being real, I've only done this for people in banking solutions in this division that are males. And then you 10x your credibility. Because if you claim to be good at 10 things, it's not as believable as if you claim to be good at one thing. So if you wanted to increase your credibility, You could get twice as good. You could get 10 times as good, but that's going to take you years. Or you could simply decrease the number of topics you talk about and have the same effect. If you wanted to introduce more pressure in an object, you could do this and introduce pressure, and you could get twice as strong, or you could just talk about one thing and have more pressure. This is why knives cut. And if you hit something with, I don't know, with this notebook, it wouldn't cut it. If you hit somebody with a knife, you would kill them, because you could increase your force or you could decrease the topics you talk about. So right now you may be doing that mistake, making that mistake. So one thing I'd like you to do is go over your content, go over your profile, and with a pen and paper, you tally, how many topics am I talking about? Are you all over the place, or are you just talking about one thing? And once you nail it to the one thing, you're going to notice that people start taking you more seriously, because it's way more believable. So I kind of want to put this all together in one, and kind of give you something that's actually super useful. So when I was in high school, I had a task. It was a very simple task in math, which was to create a toothpick bridge. That's what I needed to do. I wanted to create a toothpick bridge. And the math teacher told us, it's very simple, guys. You just grab 3 toothpicks, you glue them together, you create a triangle, and you do it again. So this is kind of what a toothpick bridge looks like, right? Now, if you notice, it's all triangles. It's all the same thing. And if you created a triangle, the only thing that you needed to do next was, you guessed it, do another triangle. And then you do another triangle. But what did high school JK do? He got impatient. And you were like, you know what? You know what would look really cool here? A square. Or you know what? A hexagon. Or let me do a rhombus. And then, it was just, the bridge, to me, it looked pretty cool, right? But when we tested it in presentation day, on my competitor's bridge, or my classmate's bridge, the teacher literally stood on top of it, and it didn't break, because triangles are the most geometrically sound shape. Now, the teacher put a pencil case on top of mine, and it crumbled. And it was so embarrassing, because I was supposed to be the smart guy, right? And it's like, it just crumbled. But the guys that actually stuck to the process, they had this beautiful, strong, solid bridge. So what the kind of lesson I want to tell you is, you're going to create one triangle today. You're going to prove your competence once and send a few DMs. And tomorrow you will be tempted to change the plan. You will be tempted to do something else. And that is you fucking up like I fucked up in high school. So what I'd like you to do is, if you create one triangle, create one again, and create one again. Because at some point, it will be unreasonable for you not to make money from your social media account if you stick to the triangles and you do the thing over and over again until you have a bridge. So what are the triangles? I'd like you to take 30 minutes every day to prove your competence somehow. Post a testimonial, write a case study, record a video, have something that makes people look at you like you are legit. And for 30 minutes, I'd like you to DM people using the strategies we talked about. Maybe you message them. Maybe you ask for a DM and you talk to them. Maybe you prove your competence and you DM the people who like your posts. Maybe you go to your Dream 100 and talk to them. And then eventually you will have a sales machine that rents, that works. And the only thing that's required for the plan to work is for you to not change the plan. All right. So that's kind of what I wanted to leave you guys with. And if it's cool, I want to leave you with one thing. I think it's a cool exercise to do between all of us.
Before you give us the exercise, JK, where is the best place for us to find you?
You can go find me at 1JK Molina on Twitter. That's ONE, JK Molina. If you want to grow your audience, I'm not your guy. But if you want to monetize your audience, welcome.
Boom. Yeah. Link below. JK, give us the exercise, brother.
If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. We all know this, right? So if you guys understand the value of DMing people and building an audience and monetizing, right now, go to your calendar and appoint 1 hour every day in which you're going to commit to growing your social media business. So for 30 minutes, I'm going to do the proof of competence. And for 30 minutes, I'm going to DM people. And that time is non-negotiable. And that is you building triangles. You building triangles over and over again until you build a beautiful bridge that will eventually make you money. So I do have my time. It's at, in 2 minutes. So that's why I need to leave. So you guys need to do that too. So go to your calendar right now, put it on the calendar. And when you're ready, keep doing the thing. And eventually you will make money from your social media account.
Boom. JK, thanks for joining today, man. That was gasoline. I have so many videos I'm going to make out of this. Really good. Any other thoughts here, gentlemen, ladies, boys, girls, dogs, and cats?
I want to just do a quick 30-second recap of my understanding, JK. That's okay. If that's cool. Cool. So it sounds like what you're saying with social media is first be like self-aware as to what your world looks like once somebody enters it, and really make sure that when someone enters your world that they feel like you're competent in whatever it is that you're trying to help them with, or just whatever it is you claim to be the expert on. And then if you start engaging in DM, sounds like the main thing to focus on is to not come across like you're desperate, like you need their business, like you're just truly there to try to figure out, like, can I help you? And kind of put it on them to see, if you want it, great. If not, that's cool too. And that doesn't throw up a red flag.
That's right. Also, you wouldn't want to, the one thing I add to that, I think you covered it great. The one thing I like to add to that is you're not selling by chat, you're setting by chat. So if the prospect wants to go, okay, what are the details like? It's faster to cover on the call. Can you explain a little bit about what you do and send some testimonials? Good. I'm glad to cover it on the call. It's just faster. If not, all good. Right? Like they all try to deviate, but you take them back to the process.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for your time today. Very, very helpful.
All right. And I really need to hop off, but if you have a question, go to my Twitter. You can ask it there. Let me know you come from the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Savant. I'll get you hooked up.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. See ya.